Good afternoon, fourth grade. Today we're going to continue reading in our novel, James and the Giant Peach. Before we get started, you have a quick write. It says, have you ever had a problem that worked itself out? How did you feel afterwards? Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the focus question. The focus question is, how is point of view developed in different texts? Our vocabulary words are faucet, that is a device where water or liquid comes out of. So this is called the faucet that the water comes out of. The next word is somersault, and that's when you do a flip. So these are the stages of a somersault. And then the last word is toboggan, and that's another word for a sled that you use in the snow. Go ahead and turn the page, and we're on page 101. We're going to use our CSPS strategy as we read. All right, so they're still like flying through the air, and the centipede, they're trying to figure out how to get the centipede unstuck because he's covered in paint. They all raised their heads listening. Shh, there it is again. But the voice was too far away for them to hear what it was saying. It's a cloud man, Miss Spider cried. I just know it's a cloud man. They're after us again. It came from above, the earthworm said, and automatically everyone looked up. Everybody except the centipede, who couldn't move. Ouch, they said. Help, mercy. We're going to catch it this time. For what they now saw swirling and twisting directly over their heads was an immense black cloud, a terrible, dangerous, thundery-looking thing that began to rumble and roar even as they were staring at it. And then from high up on top of the cloud, the faraway voice came down to them once again, this time very loud and clear. On with the faucets, it shouted. On with the faucets! On with the faucets! We'll stop right there because we have information about the setting. In box 2A, you would write, the insects and James are traveling on the peach through the air when they hear a loud voice coming from a large dark cloud. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the quote. For the quote, we will write down this quote on page 101. For what they saw now, swirling and twisting directly over their heads, was an immense black cloud, a terrible, dangerous, thundery-looking thing that began to rumble and roar even as they were staring at it. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready to keep reading. Bottom of page 101. 3 seconds later, the hole underneath of the cloud seemed to split and burst open like a paper bag. And then out came the water. They saw it coming. It was quite easy to see because it wasn't just raindrops. It wasn't raindrops at all. It was a great solid mass of water that might have been a lake or a whole ocean dropping out of the sky on top of them. And it came down, down, and down, and down, crashing first onto the seagulls and then onto the peach itself, while the poor travelers shrieked with fear and groped around frantically for something to catch hold of, the peach stem, the silk strings, anything they could find. And all the time the water came pouring and roaring down upon them, bouncing and smashing and sloshing and slashing and swashing and swirling and surging and whirling and gurgling and gushing and rushing, and it was like being pinned down underneath the biggest waterfall in the world and not be able to get out. We'll stop right there because we have information about the characters. In box 1A, you would write, it began to rain really hard as the peach was traveling through the sky. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the quote. And for the quote, we would write, it was a great mass of water that might have been a lake or an ocean dropping out of the sky on top of them, and down it came. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready to keep reading. We're in the middle of page 102. They couldn't speak. They couldn't see, they couldn't breathe, and James Henry Trotter, holding on madly to one of those silk strings above the peach stem, told himself that this must surely be the end of everything at last. But then, just as suddenly as it had started, the deluge stopped. They were out of it. It was all over. The wonderful seagulls had flown right through it, and they had come out safely on the other side. Once again the giant peach was sailing peacefully through the mysterious moonlight sky. "I am drowned!" gasped the old green grasshopper, spitting out water by the pint. "It's going right through my skin," the earthworm groaned. "I always thought my skin was waterproof, but it isn't, and now I'm full of rain." "Look at me! Look at me!" shouted the centipede excitedly. "It washed me clean! The paint's all gone! I can move again!" "That's the worst news I've heard in a long time," the earthworm said. The centipede was dancing around the deck and turning somersaults in the air and singing at the top of his voice. "Oh, hooray for the storm and the rain! I can move, I don't feel any pain. And now I'm a pest, I'm the biggest and the best, and the most marvelous pest once again." "Oh, do shut up," the old green grasshopper said. "Look at me," said the centipede. "Look at me, I am freed, I am freed, not a scratch nor a bruise nor a bleed. To his grave this fine gent they all thought he had sent, and I very near went, oh, I very near went, but that sent quite the wrong centipede." All right, we'll stop right there because we have the problem and the solution. In box 3A, you would write, "The storm was so terrible, the insects and James thought they were going to die." Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the quote. For the quote, you would write this down from the middle of page 102. And James Henry Trotter, holding on madly to one of the silk strings above the peach stem, told himself that this must surely be the end of everything at last. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the solution. And for the solution, we would write in box 4A, "The storm ended, and all the paint washed off of the centipede. He was very happy." Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the quote. And for the quote, we would write down this quote on page 102. "Once again, the giant peach was sailing peacefully through the mysterious moonlit sky." And we would also write what the centipede said, "It's washed me clean." Press pause to write down your answer and play when you're ready for the paragraph. The paragraph says, "How does James respond to challenge? What does this reveal about his character?" Well, this time James's challenge was the rainstorm, and he responds by thinking he's going to die. So this kind of shows that he doesn't have a lot of faith that things are going to work out.